Right, I'm reading more about the Pyongyang lady from London. Right, okay, page 12. I was enraged and sharply responded. My father is a good man. After returning home, I reflected on what happened at the support site and asked my father's driver what my father was really like. That father I knew was the warmest and most affectionate person in the world, so I couldn't understand why the soldier would think so negatively of him. Your father's your father sometimes would have to summon others and question them, the driver explained. People who don't know him well might feel he's interrogating them for no valid reason. But he always follows up to reassure them and shows a deep interest in their lives. Many consider it fortunate to be reprimanded by him because they know his concern is genuine. He said that those who truly know my father understand and appreciate his kindness and like him even more. Unlike most career military officers, my father served as a political officer. Political officers are party-affiliated military officers that only exist in the militaries of socialist nations following the October Revolution in the Soviet Union. In communist countries, where military power is emphasized, military forces are disproportionately large compared to other parts of society, so the ruling party tries to transform the military from a state institution into an arm of the party, thereby consolidating regime control. In North Korea, the party appoints the director of the General Political Bureau within the People's Army. Similarly, corps, brigades, battalions, and companies all have party committees with their political officers appointed by the party committees. Political officers have authority over personnel matters and disciplinary actions, giving them more actual power than administrative leaders. Additionally, they were responsible for propaganda work to educate soldiers to be loyal to the party's ideology and leadership and for taking care of their living conditions. As North Korea's economic situation faltered in the early 1980s, basic supplies for soldiers' living conditions were not properly delivered. The living conditions of soldiers deteriorated, and North Korean authorities instructed military units to become self-sufficient in acquiring food and supplies. Whenever assigned to a new unit, my father established a solid logistics base. In particular, the logistics base at Kim Il-sung University of Politics became robust through my father's efforts. He established meat production facilities and processing plants, including pig, duck, and chicken farms, an East Sea fishing base, and a paper mill to achieve self-sufficiency. He even built many residential buildings around the university for military officers. The terraced greenhouse farm that my father constructed at Kim Il-sung University of Politics was remarkable for its time. By building a 5-story terraced greenhouse with windows, he provided soldiers with fresh vegetables even in winter. Today, only traces of those terraces remain. Years later, whenever I passed by Kim Il-sung University of Politics on my way to and from Pyongyang International Airport, I felt my father's enduring passion and love from decades earlier. I always lived with gratitude and believed it was my great fortune to be his daughter. I thought it was my destiny to live and thrive under the legacy of the revolutionary lineage, and I believe that the fate of the Kim Il-sung family was my own fate. All right, next chapter, it's called Always Be Ready. All right, when I was young, I was the one who cried the most among the 5 siblings. My father was once fed up with crying, so he gave up consoling me and raised his hand wide open, shouting, "Father can be very scary when angry." Though I was young and naive, I knew how much my father loved me. As usual, my father hugged me tightly again, and I stopped crying. As I easily got upset, my siblings called me Patuk Ganji. Oh my goodness, I think I am not doing very well with that pronunciation, but okay. Looking back, I had severe mood swings as a child. However, I was the most exemplary girl at the school. Always ready is the slogan of the Korean Children's Union. All North Korean children must join the Korean Children's Union. Although we were naive children, no one refused to join. Instead, we competed to join as quickly as we could. The later you joined, the more shame you felt as a dropout. I joined the Korean Children's Union at age 10 during my second year of elementary school. Every year, on Kim Il Sung's birthday, April 15th, a national gathering of the Korean Children's Union is held at Myeongdae, Kim Il Sung's hometown. On this day, an initiation ceremony is held for the most exemplary students selected by their schools to join the Korean Children's Union. I too stood on the podium, and a veteran anti-Japanese fighter tied a red tie around my neck. In North Korea, the red tie symbolizes the red blood of revolutionary martyrs who died for the party, country, and people. Like all children in North Korea, I too held up the red tie and recited the Korean Children's Union pledge. As I joined the glorious Korean Children's Union, established and led by the dear father, Marshal Kim Il-sung, I solemnly swear before the Korean Children's Union flag that it will grow up to be a strong and reliable reserve force of the Workers' Party of Korea, following the path led by our beloved Marshal. Always ready, then we marched out of the venue singing the Korean Children's Union march song in step. All right, here's the song. To paint the rising fatherland with the colors of the sunset, let your red burning tie flutter in the wind. We are the young soldiers of the Marshal. Let's prepare to be the reserve of communism. Comrades of the Children's Union, raise your flags. Let us march forward strongly following the Marshal's path. The lyrics of the Korean Children's Union march song resonated deeply in my teenage heart, fueling my fervent patriotism and loyalty. From early childhood, North Koreans are groomed to internalize blind loyalty to Kim Il-sung. Thank you, Marshal Kim Il-sung was the first. I like that song. It was the first song I learned in our daycare. As we entered elementary school, we had to prove our loyalty to Kim Il-sung through our actions. To young students, Kim Il-sung was a divine being. We were taught that Kim Il-sung was our benefactor who heroically reclaimed our homeland from Japanese occupation and made our country the best place in the world, teaching us that loyalty to him was a matter of honor, duty, and morality. At our school in Myeongdae, Kim Il-sung's revolutionary hometown, students would race to the Myeongdae revolutionary site by 5 a.m., barely awake, carrying brooms and mops. Our unit was responsible for maintaining the Warship Rock. I guess the Warship Rock is where Kim Il-sung played war games, and the wild apricot tree, which he supposedly climbed to catch rainbows. After school, we would participate in a rabbit breeding campaign to support North Korea's efforts to earn foreign currency. Rabbit fur was a reliable source of foreign currency for North Korean authorities. We were required to climb the hills behind our school to gather clover to feed the rabbits. Each student was assigned individual collection quotas. Every week, we would collect scrap metal, bottles, paper, and vinyl, bring them to collection centers, and submit their receipts at school. Tanks, artilleries, locomotives, tractors, and cars made from recycled materials we collected would be labeled "Made by the Children's Union" and sent to the People's Army and socialist construction sites where our parents worked. In autumn, we were mobilized to help cooperative farms with rice harvesting. The entire class would line up across harvested rice fields to collect several bundles of rice ears. After advancing to third grade in elementary school, we participated in mass games held for Kim Il-sung's birthday on April 15th. After classes, we would march in formation to the training ground, a round trip of approximately 8 kilometers. Even after 40 years, I can still remember the savory smell of the large yeast bread distributed as snacks and the rhythmic movements we rehearsed for months. Our living standards were fairly similar. Lunchbox side dishes consisted of just a few pieces of vegetables or a spoonful of soybean paste in the middle of rice. While the types of grains varied, wheat, barley, corn, rice, and other mixed grains, it was a time when everyone could at least eat mixed grain rice. Back then, pulak was very common. Throughout winter, almost every household had stiff strings of pulak, which were hard to tell whether they were dried or frozen, hanging on windowsills. We would peel off the skin by pounding it with a hammer and tear it into pieces to eat. Strangely, the taste varied by household. One vacation day, I invited my classmates over and we ran through the hills near my house until our faces were blackened with dirt. When my mother returned from work, she scolded us while cleaning up the mess. The wide open kimchi jars and the room is in disarray. The Children's Union demanded that young students value the collective over the individual and dedicate themselves to the organization. I still cannot forget the popular art film, The Flower Blooming on the Dokro River Bank. It betrayed the dedication of a female teacher who carried a disabled student on her back to and from school for years, eventually helping with the treatment until the student could walk again using crutches. Her beautiful deed left a deep impression on the young students. In fourth grade, the mother of my classmate Jiang Ak passed away. Based on how her mother had worn a bad bandage fixed on one arm, I think she may have had breast cancer. Living alone with her father meant her uniform was always disheveled. That year, our class was assigned to be the backdrop team for Kim Il-sung's birthday mass games. We stayed up nights and our teacher cutting and pasting colored paper onto backdrop boards and sharing bites of rice balls. The teacher instructed us to make pockets to hold our backdrop boards. I asked my father to make one for motherless Jiang Ak. The next morning, when her father came to our morning assembly and gratefully held my hand, I felt the joy of sharing for the first time. Not long after, Jiang Ak transferred to another school near where her sister, who was married, lived. Young girls quickly adapted to the strict organizational lifestyle that prioritized the group and collective over personal interests and obedience and loyalty over freedom. Anyone who disrupted the collective interests through even minor individual actions was subject to criticism. Looking back now, it seems the younger and more innocent they were, the more obedient they became. No one questioned or rebelled against the suddenly vanished freedom. Maybe it would be more accurate to say we began to resemble our parents. We believed that the organization's decisions were infallible and that the only obedience was the condition for becoming excellent future revolutionaries. From a young age, students were trained to forget their rights under strict organizational control. The division chairman of the Children's Union and the class president typically have a bad relationship. In terms of the adult world, the division chairman is like the party leader, while the class president is the administrative leader. The reason for poor relations between them is the existence of two similar leadership roles within one organization. The division chairman reports to those who oversee the Children's Union of the school, while the class president reports to the homeroom teacher or the principal. Just like in the adult world, these student leaders try to show off their power. My closest friend during elementary school was An Ak-hwa, the granddaughter of An Gil, a well-known anti-Japanese partisan. An Gil is a well-known anti-Japanese partisan. During the partisan days, An Gil was one of Kim Il-sung's most loyal comrades, and there are several films about his loyalty to Kim Il-sung. During the partisan days, An Gil was one of Kim Il-sung's most loyal comrades, and there are several films about his loyalty to Kim Il-sung. Ak-hwa's father, An Gil's eldest son, served as the commander of the North Korean Air Force in the 1970s, but was later demoted to a colonel-level position as the chief lecturer of the Air Force Department at Kim Il-sung Military University and moved to our village, allegedly for opposing the party's monolithic ideological system. Those who were not loyal to Kim Il-sung were punished without mercy. For such an offense, others would have been banished to a remote and restricted area. But perhaps, thanks to the merits of his father, An Gil, Kim Il-sung's loyal comrade, Ak-hwa's father, was generously forgiven and allowed to remain in Pyongyang. Though her father was not a general, my father, perhaps feeling sympathy for him as the son of a revolutionary figure, converted a garage in the general's residential village into a separate home for Ak-hwa's family. Ak-hwa's father never received another promotion until retirement, and her mother worked as a caretaker at Kim Il-sung's childhood home for the rest of her life. When I first met Aqua, she was quite a fierce child. On the day our family moved in, she was sitting amid boxes eating snacks, and when she saw me, she suddenly grabbed a piece of, a brick and charged at me. Terrified, I ran inside and told my mother. A year later, Aqua and I were assigned to the same division at elementary school. Her fierce personality was quickly tamed through organizational life under the Children's Union, and we later became inseparable best friends. When I was the division chairman, Aqua always took my side as the division committee member during the fierce power struggles of the union. About 10 years later, after I was married, I ran into Aqua on the street. I was so happy to see her, and I immediately dragged her home. Her pretty and confident childhood appearance had completely vanished, and although she was still in her 20s, she looked middle-aged with missing teeth and sunken cheeks from what must have been a tough life. After graduating from middle school, Aqua was not able to attend college and was working as a clerk at the Ministry of Railways. Later, I heard the heartbreaking news of Aqua's death through a colleague at the Ministry of Trade. During an argument with her husband, Aqua jumped in the Taedong River, and her husband jumped in to save her, but neither of them made it out of the river. That's how my childhood friend Aqua passed away. The dreams and passion from my children's union's days, when I lived most revolutionary in my life, also vanished meaninglessly. As I grow older and I realize the duplicity of the North Korean authorities and the emptiness of organizational life, I once again recall the names of my kind division member friends. Organizational Vice Chairman Kim Sung-uk, Ideological Vice Chairman Park Jam-hee, Flag Bearer Ri Chun-uk, Division Member Yan-suk, Team Leader Ri Jam-uk. Okay. I parted ways with these friends from young day when I graduated from elementary school and entered Pyongyang Language Foreign School. All right, side notes. The Children's Union organization is structured exactly like the actual party organization. Each class forms a division with a division leader, and under them, the organizational vice chairman, usually a class president, ideological vice chairman, the flag bearer, division members, and the Children's Union leader. All right, let's see. I think I might stop there. Let's see how. Yeah, we're going to stop here for this recording.